I've been working on my never-ending granny square, and I started this little edging here, and I was just going to show you guys how to do it. Now you can start where you joined off here. It would be like being right here. You're going to work the same. You're at a V-stitch, and I'm at a V-stitch over here. So to do this, I'm doing like a small puff shell, and to do that I need to work a small puff. So I yarn over, insert my hook into the stitch, yarn over, draw up a loop. I need to do that twice, so yarn over, insert into that same stitch, yarn over, draw up a loop, and then yarn over and draw through all 5 loops on your hook. That's the small puff. Then we're going to chain 1, work another small puff in that same V-stitch, chain 1, and then work a small puff in that same V-stitch. So that's the little shell that we're working in the V-stitches. And then in our 3 double crochet clusters, we're going to be working a slip stitch, but we're doing a front post slip stitch. Remember, we were doing front post V stitches. Now we're doing front post slip stitches. So now we're at a V stitch. We need that shell again, so a small puff. Oh, just a moment here, got a little knot in my yarn. Okay, so we just finished that small puff. Now we need to chain 1, small puff in that same V-stitch, chain 1, and then small puff in that same V-stitch. Now we don't have a 3 double crochet cluster next. We have the chain 1 space in our corner. So we'll work a slip stitch in there. And then in our corner chain 2, we're going to work that shell again. So a small puff, chain 1, small puff in that same chain 2 space, chain 1, and then small puff in that same chain 2 space. Now we're going to slip stitch in that next chain 1 space. And that actually brings us back around to where we would start the round if you were carrying up your yarn. And you just start your little shell in there with your 3 small puffs. So we're working a small puff, chain 1, small puff in that same V-stitch, chain 1, and then small puff in that same V-stitch again for that little 3 small puff shell, and then working a slip stitch around the front post of the 3 double crochet clusters. You can continue repeating that around for a nice little edging on this never-ending granny square.